The rise of English literature. Before and during the English Renaissance, 1500–1660. Before the formal establishment of England as a unified literary force, there were significant developments that laid the groundwork for what we now call the rise. English Renaissance. One important milestone occurred approximately a year before the year 1588. This was the publication of the first printed book of poems in England, which was a culturally significant event worth noting. It marked the growing importance of printed literary works and reflected a rising literary consciousness. The role of the printing press. The journey of English literature truly transformed when William Caxton introduced the printing press in England in 1476. This technological advancement revolutionized literature, making books more accessible to the public and allowing ideas to spread rapidly. The availability of printed books ignited a literary awakening and encouraged intellectual development across the country. Influence of humanism and the Renaissance. Two prominent English intellectuals, Sir Thomas More and Lord Thomas Wyatt, traveled extensively in Europe, where they were exposed to Renaissance humanism. Inspired by what they learned, they returned to England and played a vital role in introducing Renaissance ideas into English thought and literature. Thomas Wyatt, influenced by Italian poets like Petrarch, brought the sonnet form to England. Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey, introduced blank verse, unrhymed iambic pentameter, which became the foundation of later English drama and epic poetry. Together, these men helped evolve English poetry by blending reason, emotion, and philosophical depth, shaping the future of English literature. The flourishing of drama and poetry. By the time Queen Elizabeth IV ascended the throne, England was already nurturing a rich literary culture. The Elizabethan age saw a surge in the writing of dramas, lyrical poetry, songs, and sonnets. Notable contributors during this period included Edmund Spenser, who wrote The Faerie Queene, first published in 1590, an epic poem in praise of Queen Elizabeth I. Although he hoped for royal favor, he received little in return. Nonetheless, Spenser's work remains a cornerstone of English Renaissance poetry. Spenser also wrote important prose works like The Defense of Poesy, also known as An Apology for Poetry, defending the value of imaginative literature. Contribution of songwriters and poets. The Elizabethan era also witnessed the flourishing of music and lyrical poetry. Thomas Campion became renowned for composing songs with poetic finesse, often blending music and verse in elegant harmony. Another major figure was William Shakespeare, who not only wrote plays, but also contributed to poetry with works like Venus and Adonis, 1593, The Rape of Lucrece, 1594. The golden age of drama parallel to poetry, English drama evolved significantly. John Lyly and George Peele wrote courtly comedies and pastorals. Thomas Kyd introduced the revenge tragedy genre with the Spanish tragedy, a precursor to Shakespearean drama. Christopher Marlowe, another key figure, wrote powerful tragedies like Dr. Faustus, using blank verse masterfully. Shakespeare, emerging. In this vibrant literary landscape began his career around this time. His early successes in theater were followed by national fame, especially after the mysterious death of Marlowe in 1593. Some even speculated that Shakespeare adopted some of Marlowe's themes or unfinished works, although this remains a matter of debate. Rival playwrights and dramatic traditions, Shakespeare wasn't alone. He had several contemporaries and rivals. Ben Jonson, a playwright known for Every Man in His Humor, 1598, rose to prominence and later became a leading dramatist of the Jacobean period. Other important dramatists included John Webster, the Duchess of Malfi, and Thomas Middleton, who co-wrote The Changeling with William Rowley. The Jacobean period, 1603–1625. When King James I took the throne in 1603, the Renaissance entered its Jacobean phase. The name Jacobean derives from Jacobus, the Latin form of James. Key developments of the Jacobean era. Shakespeare wrote his major tragedies, including King Lear, Macbeth, and Othello between 1606 and 1608. He also explored tragicomedies and romances, like The Tempest, which blend elements of tragedy and comedy. In 1616, Shakespeare passed away. His legacy, however, was preserved by his colleagues who published the first folio in 1623, a compilation of 36 of his plays. The King James Bible, one of the most important literary accomplishments of the Jacobean era, was the King James Version, KJV of the Bible, completed between 1604 and 1611. This authorized translation was led by King James I himself and became the standard English Bible, shaping the language and prose style of English literature for centuries to come. Metaphysical and Cavalier poets. Two distinct groups of poets emerged during and after the Renaissance. Metaphysical poets, led by John Donne, these poets explored philosophical, spiritual, and emotional themes using intellectual metaphors and bold imagery. Other key metaphysical poets included George Herbert, Henry Vaughan, and Andrew Marvell. Cavalier poets. These poets, loyal to King Charles I, focused on themes of honor, beauty, and loyalty. Influenced by Ben Jonson, they are sometimes called the Sons of Ben. The rise of John Milton after the decline of the Renaissance. And during the Commonwealth period following the English Civil War, 1642 and 1651, John Milton emerged as the last great voice of the Renaissance. His magnum opus, Paradise Lost, written in blank verse, explored themes of free will, divine justice, and the fall of man. He also contributed to political prose and philosophical essays, contributions of Francis Bacon parallel to poetic and dramatic developments. Francis Bacon advanced English prose through his philosophical and scientific writings. He laid the foundation of the empirical method and shaped modern English essays. The end of the Renaissance era. The Renaissance formally ended with the restoration of the monarchy in 1660. However, its legacy remained alive through the works of Milton and Dryden, and through the continued influence of Renaissance ideals in literature, science, and philosophy.